25,950 kwacha in 2022. My response, Chair, the concern is noted. Nevertheless, I wish to state that the Minister of Tourism gets his mandate to collect revenue from Section 59 of the Tourism and Hospitality Act number 13 of 2015, which requires a registered hotel manager to obtain a certificate of registration, practicing certificate, or certificate of exemption at prescribed fees. To this effect, the department sends out constant reminders to operators for the payment of the stipulated fees. However, the Act does not mandate the Ministry to ensure measures on defaulters which could make operators be more compliant. Despite not having the mandate to reinforce measures on defaulters, the Department of Tourism has managed to collect 284,420,000 kwacha from 2021 to 2023 June. As a collective measure, Office of the Director of Public Prosecution has been engaged and has since given direction on how to deal with defaulting hotels and lodges. And this can be referred to Appendix 1. C. Failure to collect revenue. Section 11, Section 1M of the Public Finance Management Act number 1 of 2018 stipulates that a controlling officer is responsible for planning and controlling of revenue collection and expenditure of public funds appropriated under that controlling officer's control, including taking effective and appropriate steps to collect revenue due to the head of revenue and expenditure under their charge as appropriated by Parliament. Accommodation Establishment Database revealed that the department was being owed amounts totaling 1,270,232 kwacha by various establishments such as lodges and hotels. As at 30th June 2023, the amount owed had not been collected from the establishment. The amounts have been outstanding from as far as 2018. My response, Chair. The auditor's concern is noted. Nevertheless, I wish to state that the Minister of Tourism gets his mandate to collect revenue from Section 59 of the Tourism and Hospitality Act number 13 of 2015, which requires a registered hotel manager to obtain a certificate of registration, practicing certificate, or certificate of exemption at prescribed fees. To this effect, the department sends out constant reminders to operators for the payments of the stipulated fees. However, the Act does not mandate the Ministry to reinforce measures on defaulters, which could make operators be more compliant. Despite not having the mandate to reinforce measures on defaulters, the Department of Tourism has managed to collect 763,290 kwacha from 2021 to October 2023. As a collective measure, Office of the Director of Public Prosecution was engaged and has since given direction on how to deal with defaulting hotels and lodges. This can be seen in Appendix 1. Lack of safe facilities, Forest Department. Regulation 8C of the Public Finance Management Regulation of 2022 stipulates that an accounting officer should ensure that proper arrangements are made for the safekeeping of public monies, securities, revenue, counterfeit receipts, licenses, warrants, and all forms of requisitions. Contrary to the regulation, 4 districts had no safe facilities at the Forest Department, despite having collected such or cash in amounts totaling 815,616 kwacha during the period under review. It was further observed that articles and accountable documents such as receipt books and revenue collected were kept in drawers that were not lockable, rendering revenue and accountable documents vulnerable to thefts. See Table 2 below, tabulating what was in the in the drawers. My response, Mr. Chair, auditors' observations are noted. The committee may wish to note that, or to know that management has since written to Secretary to Treasury in the Ministry of Finance to provide safes for safekeeping of accountable documents and cash as the custodian of safes. We are waiting for the response to our request. The reference Appendix 3.
So PS, you can skip you can skip E, which is regular payments for rural and hardship allowance.
Yes, sir.
You can also skip unaccounted for stores. These have been resolved with yourselves and Auditor General, and proceed to G.
Thank you very much for guidance, Chair. Under G, lack of title deeds. Section 41, subsection 4 of the Public Finance Act, Management Act number 1 of 2018 states a controlling officer shall ensure that all public properties under the controlling officer's charge are secured with the title deeds. Contrary to the Act, 17 properties in 4 districts were not secured with title deeds, and that can be seen in that table 3. Our response, Chair, the auditor's observations are noted, and I wish to report that the stated properties have no title deeds, as is the case with a lot of government properties. The committee may wish to know that the steering committee, comprising of finance, physical planning and housing, survey, lands and infrastructure, has been put in place to ensure or to come up with the way forward on titling of government properties in the province. Starting with Kasama district, a quotation was obtained from lands and survey for surveying of all government properties, and Minister of Lands and Rural Natural Resources has since funded the activity. Furthermore, 2 properties have been paid for, and the process is ongoing. Reference to Appendix 6. H. Poor maintenance of building. A physical inspection carried out during the period from February to March 2023 in selected district revealed that some buildings were in a deplorable state. In particular, the following were observed. Mbala District, District Commissioner's House. The house has been broken, windows broken, damaged floors, and dirt walls, and that can be seen in the pictures below. Mplungu District, District Administration Block. The block is being used as office space for the district administration. The office roof leaks, and that can be seen in the picture below. Forestry offices. The building is being used by the Forest Department as office space. The building has a leaking roof and a pit latrine as a clerk, and that also can be seen in the next page on page 9. Kaputa District, District Administration Block. The administration block was used by various government departments, and the ceiling boards are stained and damaged. Further, the walls have cracks, and that can be seen in the following picture. District Commissioner's House. The house is being occupied by an officer from the District Administration Office. The roof was old and leaks, and the windows were broken. Mprokoso, District Commissioner's House. The house is in a poor state and needs electrical, drainage, plumbing, and ceiling board works to be done. Our response, Chair, auditor's observations is noted. However, I wish to report that the province has put in place the maintenance program for all government buildings in the province, considering the fact that the funds do not permit for rehabilitation of all infrastructure at the same time. Provincial administration is rehabilitating government properties in all the districts according to what has been planned. Currently, provincial administration main building, finance offices, internal audit, and provincial conference hall have been rehabilitated. Further, a budget provision for the second phase has been provided in 2024 budget, which will cater for other government institutions. The reference Appendix 7. I. Failure to settle outstanding bills. As at 30th June 2023, the provincial administration has accrued dates in amounts totaling 2,594,888 kwacha in respect of personal emoluments, utility bills, and other supplies of goods and services, among others. The arrears had been outstanding as far back as 2012. That can be seen in the table below as table number 4. Our response, Chair. The concerns raised by auditors is noted. I wish to report that the budget line to settle outstanding personal arrears was not enough for 2022 budget. Further, I wish to state that the list of personal arrears keeps on accumulating due to staff attrition as a result of retirements and deaths, as well as staff promotions, recruitments, and transfers. For goods and services, the budget ceiling for some departments is not enough to cater for all priority activities. However, the province set aside 2,440,908 kwacha in the 2023 budget to cater for personal arrears waiting for finances to be given, or finance to give us the funds. It should be noted that Ministry of Finance gave the province 12,331,931 kwacha 67 ingwe and 2,396 kwacha 234 3 ingwe in the period under review to dismantle outstanding personal arrears and bills respectively. This still could not settle for the outstanding arrears. Reference Appendix 8. 41. Head 93, Office of the President, Northern Province, General Deposit. Mandate. The provincial administration is mandated to coordinate and implement national programs and policies at the provincial level. Maintained at the provincial administration and the 6 selected district officers for the period under review reviewed the following. A. General deposit account, funding and expenditure. The provincial administration maintains a general deposit account, which is an intermediary account where the third-party funds are deposited for implementation of activities on behalf of line ministries and other institutions. During the period under review, the provincial administration received funds in the general deposit account totaling 13,296,584 kwacha 84 ngwe. In addition, amounts totaling 2,263,072 kwacha were brought forward from 2021, bringing the total available funds to 15,559,657 kwacha, and this can be seen in the table below as table 1 under funding and expenditure. As at 31st December 2022, amount totaling 14 million had been spent. B. Management of Youth Empowerment Program loans. Unsecured loan disbursements. Guideline 7, subsection 5 of the Multi-Sectoral Youth Empowerment Program Guidelines of 2022 requires a loan disbursed under the program to be comprehensively insured by the borrower. Contrary to the requirement, loans amounts totaling 850,000 issued to 7 youth groups during the period under review had not been insured by the borrowers as at 30th June 2023. Chair, our response is as follows. I wish to state that the time payments were made, the guidelines which the Ministry of Youth and Sport and Arts provided were not clear on insurance, as it was not indicative at which stage the borrower should insure the loan. Refer to guidelines of 2020 on page 5, section 8. As a collective measure, the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts has revised the guidelines on payments of loans by doing away with loan insurance. Further, those who default will be blacklisted. Reference to Appendix 9, 2022 as revised guidelines. Failure to recover loans. The Multisectoral Youth Empowerment Program Guidelines number 7/3 of 2020 states that the project will run on a loan basis for a period of 36 months. In addition, the beneficiaries were required to pay back the loans inclusive of 10% administration fee to the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Child Development in monthly installments that were to be calculated based on the value of the loan. The first payment was due in 30 days from the expiry of the grace period of 90 days. During the period under review, loans in amounts totaling 1,683,771 kwacha were issued to 92 youth groups. However, as at 30th June 2023, the recoveries on the loaned amount had not been effected in spite of grace period having elapsed. Our response: I wish to report that the loan repayment by the beneficiaries are made directly to the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Arts account and not provincial administration account. This has made it difficult to ascertain the total amounts recovered to date. The provincial administration, however, has been making efforts to contact beneficiaries in writing, and we have been constantly calling them to honor the obligations. As a collective measure, the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Arts is now putting more emphasis on giving grants to viable youths than loans. Refer to Appendix 10. C. Management.
So PS, you can skip C and go to D.
Thank you, sir.
Unaccounted for general stores, you can skip it.
Thank you very much. Failure to remit Committee of Survey funds to Treasury. Section 34, subsection 37, I beg your pardon. Section 37, subsection 4 of the Public Finance Management Act number 1 of 2018 states all proceeds from disposal of public assets and stores, except those that belong to the local authorities and statutory corporations, shall be transmitted to the Consolidated Fund. Contrary to the Act, the provincial administration did not remit funds amounting to 194,348 kwacha from the sale of stores, items, motor vehicles and equipment. See Table 2 below. This one is up on page 15. Although management, in their response to the interim management letter dated 11th April 2023, submitted that the unremitted funds amounting to 194,348 kwacha were meant to refund bidders with unresolved issues, there was no documentation to show that there were any bidders who had unresolved issues. Controlling Officer's response: I wish to report that all the receipted funds were remitted to Ministry of Finance, except for 194,348 kwacha, which was meant to refund bidders with unresolved issues. From the 194,348 kwacha, a sum of 10,000 kwacha had already been claimed, leaving a balance of 194,000 kwacha, 348 kwacha. Management further wished to report that 184,348 kwacha, which was meant for unresolved issues, has also been remitted to Treasury accordingly. Reference to Appendix 12. Sir, I submit.
Thank you, PS, for your submission. Honorable members, that's a submission from PS Northern Province. We can proceed to ask questions as guided, starting with if there's anything on budget, funding, and expenditure. Then we'll proceed subsequently to other queries, as it were. So you are free to ask. Honorable Daka, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. Controlling Officer on the budget, funding, and expenditure. From what you have submitted, it's clear that there was an underfunding of 1.9 million kwacha, roughly, and there was a 39,511 unspent amount. The question from the committee, first of all, is what activities suffered as a result of this underfunding that you experienced, and why is it that at the end of the year you are unable to fully utilize the resources that actually were made available by government to your province? Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed with that question pertaining to budget, funding, and expenditure.
Thank you very much, Chair. Allow me, Chair, to pose the question to my accountant, the Director of Finance.
Director of Finance, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I think the balance of 1.9, which was not given to us, yes, it's true. This was the budget line for other personal emoluments. So the line which suffered was the payment of other personal emoluments. Thank you.
So which other personal emoluments suffered, Director of Finance, from what you are telling us as a committee? In particular, which one? Because you are saying it's 1.9 million, which was
So, Chair,
just before. Please speak through the chair. I have not yet finished, and I'll allow you to speak. You've intimated that the underfunding, after Honorable Dak asked the question, that is pertaining to personal emoluments. Maybe just highlight on that which personal emoluments are amounting to that 1.9 million kwacha. You can proceed, Director of Finance.
yes, Chair, the other personal emoluments are leave travel benefits, long service bonus, repatriation, salary-related arrears, settling allowance, terminal leave, and other payments. That's the category of other personal emoluments.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Wamnyima, can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Controlling Officer. I'm Imanga Wamnyima, Member of Parliament for Nalolo. Chair, to the PS, I wanted to find out on failure to collect hotel manager fees. He's submitted that the DPP, Director of Public Prosecution, has been engaged and given direction on how to deal with these defaulting hotels and lodges. and refer to Appendix 1. Now I'm under Appendix 1, looking for the letter to the DPP. I can't seem to see it. I just want to know when was this letter written? The letter from the province to the DPP. I cannot see it. I don't know if it's.
Thank you.
Because the one that's here is from tourism. From the province to the DPP. Who's giving? Because your submission is the DPP has been engaged and has since given direction. Who is engaging the DPP and when?
Thank you. Any other question? Honorable Mwila, can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. On the same issue, the finding that 19 accommodation establishments were operated by managers who did not have practicing or exemption certificates. So I wanted to find out how long have these facilities been managed by managers without certificates? Thank you.
Thank you. PS, I'll allow you to proceed and answer those two questions. Honorable Wamnyima's question and Honorable Mwila's question. You can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. I appreciate the Honorable Member for Nalolo's question. It's an important one. First, we must realize that the mandate to collect falls under the Ministry of Tourism. And the department is just sitting in our province. The Minister of Tourism was written to by the National Prosecution Authority on the 10th May 2022, in which he gave the directive. I don't know, Chair, if you would allow me to read the letter. It's a short one.
You can proceed.
Thank you, sir. Non-compliant to tourism establishment under the Tourism and Hospitality Act number 13 of 2015. The above subject matter refers. You are advised to lodge formal complaints against toiling establishments to the police to enable them undertake investigation and gather evidence needed during trial. Once investigations are concluded, the police will submit the evidence to the Office of the Prosecution. You are accordingly advised. That is the letter that was written to the ministry that you have. And you may note, Chair, that since the mandate falls with the ministry directly, even ourselves at the provincial administration were not copied this letter, but endeavored to ensure that we have at least something that we can present as evidence to this August committee. I submit, sir. Then on the issue of how long it has been outstanding for managers operating without licenses. Let me ask my officer maybe for him to be specific, if you allow me, Chair.
Thank you. You can proceed. I don't know, he's in charge of what?
Tourism.
Tourism, yes, you can proceed. You can switch off the mic, PS. Proceed.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. They've been operating without the practicing certificate from 2018, when the law was started now doing the hotel managers registration from 2018.
So from 2018, they've been practicing without paying the stipulated fees. And the person in charge, how have you helped to ensure that tourism collects these fees? Because it's a law. When the law has been promulgated, it needs to be enforced. Yeah. So what have you done? How have you helped PS, or how have you helped provincial admin to ensure that these fees are collected? We can proceed through the PS.
Thank you, Chair. We've been giving them constant reminders to start paying for hotel managers registration. And from July 2022 up to December, they've complied. Those 19 that were cited, we compelled them to pay. We've been going there, sending demand notices and the bills that they owe the ministry. And they complied, the 19 that were cited. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so they've complied between 2022 to going forward. What about 2018 to 2022? What they were owing, have they complied to that effect? If they haven't complied, we've seen your narration here what PS is submitting. PS, what processes have been done to ensure that the remaining balance between 2018 and 2022 is collected according to the submission of your officer? Before we proceed, I'll allow Honorable Wamnyima to proceed. There's also, okay, Honorable Wamnyima, then Honorable Amwila to proceed and ask questions. Honorable Wamnyima, you can proceed.
Chair, just a concern on why is the enforcement on compliance being done after audit?
Thank you. Honorable Mwila, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Arising from that submission, I have two questions. The first one is that is this license a one-off, or it's supposed to be renewed? If that is the case, why were they allowed, to renew if it is a renewable one, without having settled for the years that they never paid? My second question, again arising from that submission that they have since paid. Chairperson, it's contrary to the submission that we have here, because the submission we have is that the administration wrote to the DPP, has engaged the DPP, and the DPP has given direction. If indeed they've paid from June, they have complied, why wasn't that fact stated in this response? Because it has come now outside of the response that they have since paid. For the record, the administration has been given direction by the DPP how to deal with the defaulting managers. So this submission is different from what we have. What evidence then are we going to see that they actually paid, which should have been provided? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Let me allow PS to answer, then Honorable Mwamba, you come in so that we don't overload them with questions. PS and your officers, there are 3 questions which should be answered. You can proceed and answer. Then after that, Honorable Mwamba, you come through. Thank you. You can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. The first question is that we have continued to sensitize these defaulters, to show them that they are obligated to pay these fees by law. And what we are doing, like we have said in the end of submission, we are forever sending our colleagues in the department to go around these facilities and speak to the defaulters, including those who are not defaulting, but the operators. That sensitization is ongoing. Why are we the compliance at the audit? Sir, you may not, together with, I think, the unpaid fees from 2020 or 2018 to date. With this sensitization, Mr. Chair, you note that we have managed to collect some monies, at least 763,290 kwacha, from the 1,270,000 kwacha. 1,270 232 kwacha. It's an indication, sir, that we have gone full throttle to ensure that these monies are paid, whether in arrears or current, which they are owing. It is reducing on the figure that was actually outstanding, because we have continued to reach out to the defaulters. I submit.
Thank you. I think my question has not been addressed, PS, because I think it needs to be addressed by your officer. Maybe before we proceed, you can proceed and answer my question through you. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the license is a once-off payment, like registration. Hotel manager's registration is a once-off payment. They only pay once. Then every year, depending on how big the establishment is, if it has more than 10 rooms and more than 5 workers, they had to register for hotel manager's practicing certificate, which is renewed annually. Every year they have to pay. They're not is it enforcement done after audit?
Because my question, just to bring you to speed, is you are the officer in the province with that delegated function through the Ministry of Tourism. How are you helping to ensure that those fees are collected to that effect? Because that is a law which should be followed. If it's not followed, there should be punitive measures to that service provider or operator. So you vested with that function under the provincial admin. How are you helping to ensure that those fees are collected? It's not a reactive from the Office of the Auditor General. The 19 have paid now because they were cited. Now they've paid. Everything is okay. No, we want to know how you are helping as an officer discharge with that function. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. We've carried out continuous sensitization, and we've been in constant in touch with the operators who are defaulting. Of course, the excuse which they've been giving was that they were affected by COVID in that period from 2020 up to 2022 somewhere. That's when the industry started peaking. So we've been reminding them that pay even the arrears that you owe. So they've started complying from this year's collection as compared to last year. We've seen some progress. So we are hoping we'll continue reinforcing on the compliance. We normally go in the field to remind them, serve them with a demand notice, which is Appendix 2 there, which the ministry signs, our PS signs, to remind them to pay. Of course, we state the amount which they are owing, including the arrears, when the law was effected, if they've been defaulting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mwamba can proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. Controlling Officer, just to put us into context, we are only speaking about 19 establishments that have not been compliant. Please, can you shed more light? How many hotel or lodging establishments do we have in the province? And if possible, how much? I'm sure he has explained a bit on how they give their portion charges, but how much each establishment is meant to pay, because from that angle we're able to know that have your collections been okay? The 19 establishments, is it the correct position that were there? Because we are just speaking about they. How many is the total number, so that we also check that the 19 is the actual figure of numbers missing and the figures are correct. I submit, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, PS. You can proceed, then we make progress.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much, Honorable Mwamba, for that question. Chair, with your indulgence, this is completely a new question. Had I been asked earlier than this, obviously that information would have been handed with us. Now, for us to go to how many we have in the province I think that would require a bit of time for me to get back to the documents. I submit.
Honorable Mwamba, follow-up question, then Honorable Mwila.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Controlling Officer, it is not a new question because you have also stated that you have collected 763,000. You did collect the 763,000 from other establishments, which I'm sure you must know. You are forgiven, but you cannot say that it's a completely new question because it's part of your submission. So the 763,000 was collected from what establishments? So we do have the 19 in place which are pending. So we just needed to compare and contrast to see if we are all on the same page. I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mwila.
So my question, Chair, was these 19, as we are talking, because based on the submission is saying they're still owing and they've been directed by the DPP, but the officer's submission was that from June they have complied. So have these 19 now paid or they're still outstanding? I submit.
Thank you. PS, give us the actual position over the 19, and if they've paid like submitted by officer, I hope there's documentary evidence because we don't speculate. We want to see that yes, they've paid and this is a position, and also there's a clarification on Honorable Mwamba's question. PS, we can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think to whether the 19 have paid or not, I think I'll throw it to my officer. We'll deal with that. But let me try to answer Honorable Mwamba's question. These 19 we are referring to, these were the establishments that were owing at audit. So this question, when it came, we had to confine ourselves to what the query was. Obviously, we have got data in our offices to which we can submit to this August committee if you want so. Thank you. My officer.
Can proceed.
Thank you,
the
Chair.
tourism provincial, I don't know if it's regional coordinator, can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, our PS has responded. Well, the data we can provide from our office. We didn't know that this question you would want us to state the 19 establishments that have paid. And on the amount, the fees out of the 12 districts in Northern Province, we have 128 establishments from the 12 districts. So the registration fee, which is 1,000, registration fee is 2,250. It's a once-off payment, depending on how big the establishment is. Practicing is 1,050 kwacha, which is renewable every year, and the exemption, depending on how, if the establishment has less than 10 rooms and less than 5 workers, it's regarded to be owner managed. And lodges, every year people are building new lodges. So that number, that amount of outstanding owing, the amount uncollected revenue, will continue rising because others are new, which needs to be sensitized. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll proceed. Honorable Dak.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. PS, I'll take you to lack of safe facilities, Forest Department. You have this is affecting 4 districts in your province, and you collected 815,616, which had nowhere to be secured safe, and even accountable documents were found to be in unlockable drawers. Now, the question from the committee is, why did you have to wait for the audit query to write to the Secretary, to the Treasury, to demand for safes? I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Honorable Omyim.
Thank you, Chair. Controlling Officer, this query is coming for the third time. Last year it was there, the other year it was there, on safes. What happens after audit? Does the province go quiet and stop engaging ST, then resolve after audit? Because this query, I remember very well, appeared in the last year's Auditor General report and the other year as well. I submit.
Thank you, Chair. In addition, given in fact that this is a repeat query, are these special safes that have to be provided by the Secretary to the Treasury? Is it not something that the province can provide in their budget and buy from the funding that goes to the how special are these safes that they just have to come through the Secretary to the Treasury? Thank you.
PS, can respond to the 3 questions.
Thank you very much, Chair. The issue of safes, and I think I'll combine since it is talking about one and the same thing. Maybe I start from the bottom, from the Honorable Member who had just submitted. Yes, these safes are preserve or assets of the Ministry of Finance. They have the specifications of these safes, and they distribute to provinces and districts. For the information of the committee, we don't go to sleep. We are always in touch with the Secretary to Treasury and Minister of Finance to ensure that this issue is resolved. Regrettably, like the Honorable Mamlima has just indicated, this issue continues coming up every day or every year in our audit. Unfortunately, the ministry has not provided these safes up to today. However, just during the audit, a group of experts from the ministry were in the province, even some 2 weeks ago. They came because we have been engaging them in a different and a number of forums to ensure that they help us resolve this issue. They were in the province. They made a promise that they are going to resolve this issue, I think, before the end of first quarter of next year. Whether that will be actualized or to remain as a promise, I wouldn't commit myself to that, Chair. We'll have to wait and ensure that we continue engaging Ministry of Finance to help us resolve this issue. We could not provide in our budgets for these safes because the ministry does provide these safes to the provinces and the district. I submit, Chair.
Your question? You have not responded to Honorable Daka's question. Honorable Daka, can you repeat your question?
The question from the committee was, why did you have to wait for the audit query for you to write to the Secretary to the Treasury over the procurement of these safes? You had to wait for from the committee's point of view, it's like you are just reacting to the audit query. So why didn't you just, in good time, write to the Secretary of the Treasury over the same procurement of safes? I submit, Madam Chairperson.
There was a hand from Honorable Mamba. Can ask.
Thank you, Chairperson. Controlling Officer, you have referred to Appendix 3 in terms of request for safes. Your last correspondence and your only correspondence is that of 31st March 2021. In your response, you have stated that you have made efforts time and time again so that these safes can be provided? Can you please give us more evidence that you have been making efforts to have these safes brought to the province? Because as you can see, there's only one letter, and this is from 31st of March 2021. I submit.
Honorable Mnyima.
Also, Chair, I want to know, does Secretary of the Treasury respond to these letters? Because actually this letter, Chair, is for the other audit, not this Auditor General's report, 2021. So we even want to know, since this query has been coming for 3 years, has Secretary of the Treasury ever responded? And where is additional correspondence to ST's office, which shows that the province does not only get committed during audits?
PS, you can respond to the questions.
Thank you very much, Chair. We are not reacting just to the audit. We have engaged the Secretary to Treasury on a number of times. The letter you are looking at of 30th October 2023 is just one. There is another letter which was written in 2021 on 31st March. And this is the one I lay on the floor of the committee, this committee.
Appendix what? 3.
Appendix 3.
Appendix 3 is 31st March 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
And under your leadership, this is before your leadership, but under your leadership, this query came. So maybe would want to see your correspondence as you as PS for Northern Province.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is another one which was written on 30th October 2023.
We don't have it. Oh. Did you give it to the auditors when they came on the ground?
I apologize.
AG, did you receive that correspondence?
No.
So we don't have the letter. So looking at the date you are saying October, it means that you reacted from the audit query. Not that you made a decision when you went back, but because what we wanted is that when you came, there was a query, and what we expect from you was for you to communicate with Auditors General, which was supposed to be maybe December last year, January, February, but you had to write after the audits for this year. So that's why members are saying you are reacting unlike the way you are supposed to do before the auditors came to the ground.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, if you heard my response, that's why I said when we saw the officers from Minister of Finance coming, to us, it is a way to resolving this pending issue. So they couldn't come back until about a month ago, 2 weeks ago. About 2 weeks ago, that's when they only came back to come and make a follow-up on what they had left. And they promised us that this thing could be resolved by the end of the first quarter of next year.
Honorable Daka.
Controlling officer, it's very clear that you are reacting to the audit query. If it's so, just accept to say, no, we have learned, and going forward, we shall ensure that we remain proactive. It's very clear. Over and above that, now, since you have admitted that you don't even know when the Minister of Finance will make these safes available, the question from the committee is, how do you intend to secure? Because you keep on collecting cash. How do you intend to secure the cash that you will be collecting? And we are so sure as the committee you keep on collecting this cash together with the bankable document. How do you intend to secure them in the interim, or what measures have you put in place to ensure that first of all, the cash and the bankable document or any other important document to the accounting profession is kept safe? How do you intend to ensure that you keep them safe? I submit.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. Sir, in the interim, what we have done, we bought 10 lockable drawers to ensure that at least in the meantime, as we wait for the safes, we have at least some minimum measure to deal with that.
Honorable Amnima.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for intervention, PS. But I don't understand. 3 years, the ministry can't buy safes. I am at pains to agree that the very physical presence of the Minister of Finance should comfort you. No. You must give these people pressure. And for 3 years, they've never responded to them, even before you were there. You see, this query, Chair, came into the audit for 2020. It's 2023. 2021, we deliberated on safes. 2022, deliberated on safes. 2023, we are deliberating on safes. And in fact, I remember that there was some budgetary allocation in the previous budget to address, I don't know what happened, whether that money was used, but what has Treasury been saying? Have they ever responded to a letter? Because it's like it's a one-sided communication. What is the commitment here? I know Chair will have the ST appearing before us, but I just want to understand whether there's been seriousness in really demanding for these safes.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. Maybe I may throw this question, if you're allowed, to the Accountant General to help us on this one, because we have done all we could. Like Honorable Momnima has noticed, that there are no responses from Minister of Finance. Maybe she can help us to deal with that.
Thank you, PS. Accountant General, do you have an answer?
Thank you, Chair. Well, what the PS is saying is actually true. They are not allowed to purchase maybe the safe on their own. That's a preserve of Ministry of Finance. Our strong room is in charge of that, and because of certain measures that are taken, and I believe maybe it's just maybe a procurement process for our ministry, because we have quite a number of other institutions requesting for safes. But however, we'll follow it up from AG's office. We'll follow it up with a strong room and see if they can be able to maybe follow up and ensure that the safes are delivered when they're in store. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Accountant General. PS, the government need that revenue to be secured, as it were, which is very, very important and of paramount importance. And like Honorable Amnima said, we've deliberated on this issue. And honorable colleagues, with your indulgence, I think we need to ensure that Secretary to Treasury, they tell us how they're ensuring that some of these recommendations which were done a long time ago have been adhered to. If they've got it's their mandate to procure, why shouldn't they procure? Because funds are being channeled through Control 99. So we want ST to come and answer those questions. Secretariat, take note, because we cannot be looking at things again and it's not business as usual. We want a befitting answer from the Secretary to come to Treasury to tell us what they are doing about that issue. We can make progress. We'll proceed to G, because the other two have been overtaken by events. So to proceed to lack of title deeds. Any questions on that aspect, honorable colleagues, you can proceed. PS, maybe just put us to speed. At what level are you at to ensure that these properties in Imbala, Mpulungu, Kaputa, and Porokoso, the 17 aforesaid projects that to ensure, as required by Public Finance Act number 1 of 2018, and also the circular from Secretary to Treasury, to ensure that government buildings we secure titles to that effect, as it were. What have you done, and what processes have you put in place to ensure that the 17 projects properties have title deeds or are in the process of acquiring title deeds to that effect? Thank you. Honorable Wamnyima, you have a question on the same? You can proceed. PS.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I rely on the submission that we have made already, that steering committee comprising of the finance department, physical planning and housing, survey, lands and infrastructure is in place, being chaired by the director of finance, who is seated on my immediate left. And that quotation that we started with, we want to start with Kasama, and the quotation was obtained from lands and the natural resources ministry, and has since been funded to deal with the processes of titling of government properties. So, Chair, that's where we are. We're in the process, and as soon as this is done, we'll be able to move forward. Thank you, sir.
Director of Finance, you are in the committee. Can you tell us where you are at? I've seen your offer letters here, which you've attached. These are offer letters. There's a Minister of Finance receipt. I don't know if this a payment you've done. There's also survey diagrams for properties you've, I think, attached these properties. And there's I don't know if it's a bill of 65,126. That is your appendix. What does this entail? You can proceed and answer that question.
Yes, I think as a committee, what we started was we are starting with the Kasama district. So we have paid for the 2 properties to the Ministry of Lands. So what is remaining is for the survey department now to do the surveys. Furthermore, like we responded in our response, government has sent some money now so that we can do the titling of these properties throughout the province. So the Ministry of Lands and the surveyors are on the ground doing the work. I submit.
Thank you, PS. Before Honorable Wamnyima comes in, PS, we take note of what officers speak here. Whatever you speak, there's verbatim, and also we take note. And that's why what you submit should be what is actually happening. Because you come back here, then come and tell us another submission, then you start contradicting yourself. I hope that's the actual position on the ground. Honorable Wamnyima.
Chair, I just want to find out through the controlling officer whether this committee has timelines on when the remaining 15 properties will be. Have they set timelines? Because I think this titling of government property overall is a problem in government, and it's also more so because most of the civil servants want to do it in a vacuum. When they will finish, that's when it's so. How much time are we giving this committee to finish attending to these pending 15 properties? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. You can proceed and answer that question.
Thank you very much, Chair. Like we have said, this was delayed as a result of funds. But since we have got now funds and the ministry's concerns are on the ground, I wish to state that although we did not give them the time limit, but I think it's of it's important that we deal with this issue once and for all, because we cannot be working without a time limit. So we were thinking ourselves from the provincial administration that by the end of the 3rd quarter into 4th quarter will be done with this exercise, unless otherwise, if funds continue flowing the same way.
We proceed. Honorable colleagues, guidance on H and I, especially H, I think this is purely administrative. I don't think we should have a lot of issues. Honorable Daka, you can proceed.
Chair, on H, the committee would want to find out. We have observed that there are these four districts. The 4 districts have been affected by this query. Controlling officer, the committee would want to find out if you have got any maintenance schedule with regards to government infrastructure in your province, because I'm sure you are aware that maintenance is quite key in extending design lives for most of these structures. That's the first question from the committee. The second one, any structure has got a design life, and by the end of the day, that design life is exceeded. And as you can see from these as from your submission, you have indicated that some of these structures are 40 years old or so. And as a province, do you have any plans to construct new structures, looking at the fact that most of these structures are old and have exceeded their design life, even making maintenance unsustainable and difficult? I submit, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed. If there's your what you call the infrastructure or maintenance, whatever it's called, provincial maintenance officer or what? Do you have any? Maybe they can help you. You can proceed.
Unfortunately not. Chair is not in our entourage. However, it is true that most of our buildings are so dilapidated to a point of being obsolete. Sir, you measure, should we move out from this old thing or continue working with this in the absence of funding to construct new ones? You may not, sir, that funds for infrastructure is not sitting or does not sit at the provincial administration. It's seated elsewhere in the ministry. Therefore, even our budgeting is mainly APs and other small projects. These projects for the what I may call just the capital projects, all we advocate for is maintenance. Sir, you may note that in our submission, each year we try to bring in some monies depending on the ceiling that we get from Minister of Finance to see how best we can use the same resources to rehabilitate what we have for continuity purposes. It is true, some of the buildings that we are talking about here, anytime they can fall. Anytime. Fall to the ground. And it is difficult, sir, for us to just move away from such buildings to go and sit somewhere, especially in areas where we do not have even alternative offices.
Yes, Honorable Daka. Sorry, PS, you can switch off the mic.
Chair, seated here listening to a PS who is aware that some of these structures can collapse any time, and he's gone further to say that it's in fact difficult to move away from these structures, which to us as a committee is posing a very serious threat to human life. But the PS is here trying to convince the committee that whilst acknowledging that these are a danger to lives, but at the same time is also accepting that he cannot move out lives from these dangerous structures. Chair, is in order to make set up of a submission.
Thank you, Honorable Daka. PS, you are guided as we proceed from what Honorable Daka has raised. You can proceed and finish your submission.
Thank you very much, sir.
Progress, yeah.
Sir, if you go to our submission, the last part of our submission, we are saying further, a budget provision for the second phase has been provided in 2024 budget, which will cater for other government institutions, specifically for the purpose of rehabilitation to those which we can salvage. So the measures are there. Last year, if you see again earlier on, there was some money that we budgeted, and we have already started the rehabilitation of government properties based on the capacity that is given to us as the province. Otherwise, what the Honorable is just saying, I take note, and I thank you.
Thank you, PS. Honorable colleagues, we'll take 5 minutes break so that you can refresh and have your tea. Then we'll come and proceed with general deposit. Outstanding bills, failure to set outstanding bills, we'll give a recommendation to PS and so that we can make some progress. So we have general deposits we should look at and conclude. So PS, with that said, immunity has been lifted. You can proceed and join us for tea. What you speak when you're outside, you're on your own. Thank you so much. We can proceed.
Here is an announcement from National Assembly. The following committee meetings over the standing committees for the third session over the 13th National Assembly will start sitting on the following dates. Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Robinson Navuliato under the topic Carbon Markets and Trading in Zambia, Opportunities and Challenges. Committee on Cabinet Affairs will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Wesley Nyerenda under the topic Review over the Operations and Management of a Smart Zambia. Committee on Government Assurances will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Thomas Williams under the topic Selected Government Assurances. Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Amusa Mwanamwambwa under the topic The Fight Against Corruption in Zambia. Committee on Local Governance, Housing and Chiefs Affairs will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Committee Room number 4 under the topic A Review over the Implementation of the Constituency Development Fund. Committee on Media, Information and Communication Technologies will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Committee Room number 1 under the topic Zambia ICT Infrastructure vis-a-vis Financial Technology Growth. Members of the public and other interested parties may contact the following officers in the office of the clerk. Mr. Stephen Chiwota, Director of Financial Committees, on telephone number 292-425 up to 36. Mrs. Doreen N.C. Mukwanka, Director, Social Committees, telephone number 292-425 up to 36. This information is available on the National Assembly website www.parliament.gov.zm. Here is an announcement from National Assembly. The following committee meetings over the standing committees for the third session over the 13th National Assembly will start sitting on the following date. Committee on Energy, Water Development and Tourism will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Fanyanga Mulikita under the topic, the implementation of a monthly fuel price reviews in Zambia. Committee on National Security and Foreign Affairs will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Robinson, Naburiato, under the topic, the state of infrastructure at borders and ports of entry into the country. Committee on National Guidance and Gender Matters will sit from 30th January to 10th February 2024 in Committee Room number 4, under the topic, the review of the gender-based violence response and programming vis-a-vis establishment of victims shelters, fast-track courts, and the Anti-Gender-Based Violence Fund. Committee on Education, Science and Technology will sit from 30th January to 10th February 2024 in Committee Room number 5, under the topic, a review of the implementation of the education curriculum. Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services will sit from 30th January to 10th February 2024 in Committee Room number 3 under the topic Devolution of Primary Health Care Services in Zambia. Committee on National Economy, Trade and Labor Matters will sit from 30th January to 10th February 2024 in Committee Room number 1 under the topic a review of the informal labor sector and its contribution to the economy. Members of the public and other interested parties may contact the following officers in the office of the clerk. Mr. Stephen Chiwota, Director of Financial Committees, on telephone number 292-425 up to 36. Mrs. Doreen N.C. Mukwanka, Director, Social Committees, telephone number 292-425 up to 36. This information is available on the National Assembly website www.parliament.gov.zm.
On Noyo constituency, we profile Mumba constituency, located about 140 kilometers from Lusaka. It is a tourist district which is found in the Kafue National Park. As of the 2010 census, the district had a population of 218,328 people. Mumba is largely a farming district, although copper and gold mining also form part of economic activities in the district. The Mumba constituency office is located in the central business district of Mumba. The office was established in 2006 and acts as a bridge between the Member of Parliament and the constituents. Honorable Credo Nanjua is Mumba Member of Parliament and also Central Province Minister.
Mumba Parliamentary Constituency is made up of 12 wards, which most of them are remote rural, and one which encompasses the township. Basically, as people of Mumba, our main economic activities is agriculture. The other activity that is there for now, I think it's also mining, which is taking place in a number of wards. So those are some of the activities that the people thrive on, and fishing, of course. So those are some of the things that are in Mumba that many people get jobs and create business opportunities, and even the markets, they are normally engaged into that.
He now talks about the members of parliament that have served under Mumba constituency before him.
Well, the members of parliament that have served before me, I succeeded Dr. Honorable Branch Tuo, who was under the MMD. He also succeeded Honorable Badat, who was a UPND MP from 2001 to 2006. Then before Honorable Badati, there was Honorable Stanford Lazo, who was also under the UPND. He was the first UPND MP in Mumbwa parliamentary constituency who won a by-election when Honorable Kaneo Chivubwe died, was also from the MMD. Of course, before Kaneo Chivubwe was there was the same Stanford Lazo was the MP initially, then he resigned, and then Kaneo Chivubwe came in. These are the ones that I can remember. Of course, I can also remember those who served under UNIP, like Honorable Chirimboy is one of the first ministers from our place, and Honorable Chivwema. So these are the people who served the Mumbwa parliamentary constituency before I came in.
The area member of parliament now talks about the challenges the people of Mumbwa face.
Mumbwa constituency has got its own challenges which affects the people. As we have indicated that the people, they are more in agriculture, it means now the road network becomes at play. Most of the feeder roads, they are normally required to be attended to. Basically, in the past, we would to have grading of those feeder roads annually, immediately after the rains. The grader would go around and grade the roads. But over a period of time, I think it has been very difficult to grade the feeder roads in Mumbwa parliamentary constituency, more especially that resources at local authorities haven't been very adequate, and the issue of CDF equally too was not adequate. When we talk of the 1.6 million that we used to receive over a period of 5 years, it was something that would not make any economic sense to cater for the whole space of the constituency. The other issues that we are looking at is the issue of water reticulation. Water is a challenge in Mumbwa parliamentary constituency. Most of the townships around the central business district, they are not connected to the source of the Lukanga water supply. So many, they are still relying on standalone boreholes and also some shallow wells. And we have also gone ahead with the Ministry of Water and Sanitation to drill more industrial boreholes to supplement to the services from Lukanga water from the dam. So these 7 industrial boreholes have been drilled. What is just remaining is equipping them, which we are very sure that probably before the end of this month, all the 7 boreholes will be equipped and the water reticulation will be improved in the central business district in Mumbwa parliamentary constituency. On the issue of the roads, we have taken advantage of the improved CDF allocation to our parliamentary constituency, and we have thought that for us to be more efficient in attending to these challenges of the feeder roads, we procure a grader. The Mumbwa Kasempa road is another issue that we are looking at. It's an economical road. Once the road, the Mumbwa Kasempa road is fixed, is worked on, we are seeing more transporters coming from Northwestern using the Mumbwa Kasempa road because it's shorter than using the Copper Belt one. So that is an economical road that we are considering and putting serious commitment to it. But what have we done? What we have done is we have linked Mumbwa Kasempa road with the Mumbwa Landress Corner road, and we have submitted it to be one of the priority projects under Central Province, because every province we have submitted 10 projects that needs that we think they are priority projects. So it's one of those projects that we have put there, and we are very happy that the Ministry of Infrastructure and Urban Development has considered that road. Under the markets, what we are looking at, we have got the oldest market by the town center there. That's the market that everyone was trading from, but it's highly congested and there is no space, and the infrastructure itself is dilapidated. Then to decongest that, we thought of opening the new station market, where most of these buses and transport arrangements which goes into rural areas have been taken, but through local generated revenue and the grants of the council, we started constructing that market. But now, since we have got enough resources under CDF, is one of the areas also that we are looking at in the fourth quarter allocation, that we should attend to it. Because as we are talking now, even that same market is not enough. The population of people in Mumbwa is really growing. Traders are all over. We are working around the clock to ensure that the old market as well, if we can give it a facelift and work on some of those infrastructures which are there, and also we attend to that market. We have got another market in Piri and Sons that we are working on. We are also looking at another market in the place which we call as Chimunzi there, so that those people who are there, they are able to trade from there. Those in the new station, they are trading from there. We create space for everyone so that we can decongest the streets along the main road in the township. The free education policy has given us the clear picture of what is required in the education sector in the constituency. Most of the schools that I've visited in the constituency, I've found that the numbers of learners have actually increased 50%, 30%, and now the challenge is the space, the room to learn from, and also the employment of the new teachers also has reviewed another challenge of teachers' houses. So we have taken a number of decisions in ensuring that we can mitigate this challenge of infrastructure for learners and also teachers. So we assign a great we allocated a great amount of money in the constructions of classroom blocks and teachers' houses in the education sector. And also in the health sector is the same challenge. Most of the places where we have sent our newly recruited health workers, there is no accommodation. So we have taken that as well, so that this challenge can be mitigated. Under the education sector, most of the schools in the constituency, they didn't have desks. Desks have been a challenge, be it a high school, a primary school, preschool. Most of the areas, they don't have desks. What we have done under Constituency Development Fund, we have allocated the 1 million kwacha this year, that we procure 1,000 desks, which we are going to share across the constituency. But our main long-term objective is that from 2023, we embark on a program of procuring at least 3,000 desks in the next 4 years.
Honorable Nanjua is determined to see to it that the challenges faced by his constituents are resolved.
The people of Mumbwa can continue trusting me because, one, I respect them. I respect them, I engage them, and we have got that collaboration with them. From the time I became MP, so far I have gone to all the 11 ones, other than one which I haven't yet gone, to thank them for voting us and also engage them on what they want to see under the funding that we are going to receive as the Constituency Development Committee. So that collaboration and engagement, I think it excites the people, and they are able to contribute and they are able to tell us. And also where we don't agree with them, we still engage them that here we are thinking that this could be good for the constituency. So I want to base our trust on that collaboration and engagement.
Mr. David Custom is a professional assistant for Mumba Constituency Office. He sheds more light regarding the importance of the office.
From inception, members of parliament didn't have where to meet their constituents from. So the introduction of these constituency offices has seen a lot of interaction between the member of parliament and also the constituents, and from these interactions, members of the community, they are able to share their challenges that they are facing in the communities and also share what they want to see through this constituency office. So these constituency offices are political neutral offices which accommodates all members of the community from all political parties, the church, and other organizations. So it is through this office that we are able to interact with the members of the public.
Mr. Custom talks about his role as a professional assistant and appeals to Mumba constituents to visit the constituency office on a regular basis.
My role as a professional assistant mainly is to facilitate
12 of the laws of Zambia, which gives you immunity. Honorable colleagues will proceed with general deposits to question the PS. Starting from A, which is the general deposit funding and expenditure. If there are questions, then management of youth empowerment loan programs, and then we proceed to the last two items: unsecured loan disbursement and failure to recover loans. Then stores has been dealt with. Then we proceed as it were. So you can proceed and ask questions. General deposits. General deposits. General deposits, that is page 12 of the submission of the PS, is funding, expenditure, unsecured loan disbursement, failure to recover loans are coming under the general deposit account. You can proceed. Yes, Honorable Mnyima, you can proceed.
Chair, I want to proceed to unsecured loan disbursements.
Yes, you can proceed.
And the controlling officer in his submission has indicated that at time of payments, the guidelines which the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts provided were not clear on insurance. It was not indicative at which stage the borrower should insure. Chair, controlling officer, on page 4 of this memorandum, regarding a similar query which appeared in 2021, you stated that the guidelines that the Ministry of Youth Sports were not clear on insurance. So this, Chair, this query is also coming again. It was there last year. Now, why did you not get guidance from the ministry at the beginning of 2022 before repeating a similar query? Because I think this query, when it came last year, it carried the same response. So why wasn't guidance sought from the Ministry of Youth to avoid proceeding again with disbursement of unsecured funds? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Any other question? If not, PS, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much, Honorable Mnyima, for that question. It is true we could not seek guidance on the same, and we appreciate what you have just said, and we take note. Going forward, we shall do the same. However, we need to note that Ministry of Youth, Sport and Arts are a sole owner of these loans, and they stipulate how the loans are acquired and how loans are repaid. And you may note that they sit on a completely different line as opposed to line number Minister of Youth 63. Okay. So we've taken note of the guidance, and we promise to engage Minister of Youth going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Daka.
Beg to proceed to failure to recover loans, I think, which is quite similar with the...
Can proceed.
Yeah. Controlling officer, in your memorandum to the Public Accounts Committee, you have stated that the loan repayments by beneficiaries are made direct to the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts accounts, not the provincial administration accounts. This has made it difficult to ascertain the total amounts recovered to date. The provincial administration, however, has been making efforts to contact beneficiaries in writing, and you have been constantly calling them to honor the obligation. Controlling officer, the questions from the committee is, are these youth clubs or groupings active or engaged in income generating activities? That's the first question. The second question, how many youth groups have been contacted? The committee would want to know how many youth clubs have been contacted and how many have responded. I submit, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Vice Chair, then Honorable Mwamba.
Thank you, Chair. And PS, considering that this question came last year and the response is the same as last year's, my question is, have you engaged the ministry so that you can restructure on how these loans will be done between you and the ministry for future engagements? I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mwamba. Can proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. As a rider to Honorable Daka's question, Appendix 10, as stated, only gives us 2 sets of correspondence. So, and this was only in 2022. Has there been no other correspondence between the youth groups and your office, controlling officer? And how come there's no correspondence from the other groupings? I submit, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed with those 3 questions.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think let me throw first to the officer to respond to how many have been contacted so far, and if we have engaged the ministry other than what is appearing here. I beg your pardon, sir, that I didn't pick what the Honorable Member said. Maybe she can repeat her question.
Yes. Thank you. Honorable Member can rephrase, and PS will proceed.
Controlling officer, Honorable Daka had asked how many groups you had contacted and how many had responded. So in your Appendix 10, you have only given 2 correspondence with 2 groups only, and that was in 2022. So we would like to find out further if communication did go out to the other groupings and why there is no submission to that effect in this particular appendix. And is there any other correspondence to date with the youth groups? I submit. Thank you.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I must submit that the letter that Honorable Mwamba is referring to is just but one example that I wanted to give. Thank you. Maybe my colleague can answer the others.
Who's in charge of the youth in the province? It's you, Mr. Stali, if I remember your name right?
Yes.
Okay. So before you proceed, PS, I think there's a very important question which is being asked and which shouldn't be overlooked. From the so many loans, if you look at your attachment, I think there are 2 attachments of these aforesaid cooperatives. What is the status on the other ones? because if you remember, we had given recommendations prior, I think when Minister of Youth and Sport and Arts appeared before this committee on some of these issues, and we wanted to see what provincial administration offices dotted in the country have done concerning the issue of these loans. So we want to understand, I think that's a question Honorable Mwamba has asked, to what has happened to other ones, looking at your attachments. And these attachments are not just for just attaching, no, but we should put some documentation. They should speak to what we're talking about. And if there are 10 queried, there should be 10, and we should have a status on that aspect, so that we understand. We can look at the trail and what is now happening in the province. So, Mr. Stali, you are in charge of these youths in Northern Province, Minister of Youth. So please tell us what is the position on this aspect. Then honourable members will ask follow-up questions. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Regarding the question that has come on failure to recover the loans, like the PS has rightly said, my PS, we have been doing follow-ups, and we are on the ground trying to ensure that these young people, they pay. So apart from that, some businesses are active, some are not active. Then for the attachment that has been made, Chair, is just a sample. We have another, I have something here to show some of those who paid about 22 that have been paying. But we are still pursuing some of them, as I said, that we are on the ground to ensure that they are able to pay. Thank you, Chair. Submit.
Before PS you come in, let me rephrase the question. You can switch off the mic, Mr. Stahl. I think the question is not who's operating, who's active and who's not active. The question is the repayments or the recoveries. I think that's what we need to look at. And if you have any documentation which is not part of your submission, even if the clerk is collecting them, maybe we won't even admit it, because it should follow. We shouldn't wait for it now. We are not auditors, us. This is for Auditor General to look at. Us here, we want to look at what transpired and what collective measures you've taken. So PS, you've in your response, you are saying the monies are paid direct to Minister of Youth and Sport, Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts. Have you made a reconciliation on these aforesaid loans which were channeled through your office to see to it that the aforesaid cooperatives, the ones Mr. Study is saying some are functioning, they are remitting the funds, so that even as you come to appear before this committee, we know that the recoveries are being made. There's a printout from Minister of Youth and Sport to tell us this is what is being paid, this is what's outstanding, so that we can have actual data or information pertaining to these loans. Have you done that as a provincial admin to ensure that you extinguish this question? You can proceed.
Thank you very much, sir. I must admit, Chair, that we haven't done that, and I regret. Going forward, we're going to ensure that we reconcile these figures with the Minister of Youth and Sport. Sir, further, I think I wish to state that most of these loans are very, very difficult loans, extremely difficult loans. Because I think initially, when we were disbursing these loans to the youths, we did not even follow what was outlined in the conditions. or in the document. Some of the youths who got these loans, some are not even there. You can't trace them. It's a very, very difficult issue for us to deal with these loans, because I think we gave out these loans basing on the political affiliation of most of our youths who benefited during this time we are talking about. So we have this challenge, which I must lay bare on this table. And some were given machineries. The machineries are still lying idle. The money they consumed, you don't even know where these youths are, because we missed the very point, which was a loan to be repaid based on these conditions. How it was disbursed, how the loans were being disbursed was completely off what was stipulated. I regret, sir, but for the reconciliation, we shall move as guided. I submit.
Thank you. We make progress. Management of stores and accounted for stores, that one has been resolved. So we go to failure to remit committee of survey funds to treasury. That should be our last issue to look at. We can proceed if there are questions to that effect. Maybe PS, you can just tell us what transpired and why you failed to remit these funds in time. I've seen your submission. You're saying the 184 has since been remitted to secretary to the treasury. So maybe just tell us why was this delay to that effect, if there are any clarification, and why did I don't know if it's a provincial admin delay in submission of these aforesaid funds, because once you do the board of survey, people come to bid, and then there are those deposits they pay. Once they're paid, they should be deposited in the control account, as it were, because that's you're getting rid of, you're auctioning store, which is government store. So maybe you can proceed and just highlight what really transpired.
Thank you very much, Chair. It is true, the observation of the auditors are correct. The 194,000 kwacha are outstanding issues. I think my memory serves me right, we had three. One, there was a property, a motor vehicle, that was sold in Kaputa. But because of the acrimony that happened in Kaputa, the committee could not conduct the sale in Kaputa. Instead, they were to conduct the sale in Luwingu for Kaputa. When one client paid for that motor vehicle, a Land Cruiser, I think there were those who were aggrieved who did not agree that he won. Overnight, they bent that vehicle. This gentleman had already paid. In fact, it's a lady. She had already paid for this vehicle. Secondly, we had an issue with a company called China State in Kasama, who were working on the water reticulation systems of the district. One of the sites where they were working, where they've put up the tanks for water, it used to be a property for BP, I call it BP, I don't know if it's petroleum. They had those tanks under the surface, the floor, the soils. In the process of this committee, they went to number those tanks. We had now an issue with the Chinese who claimed that these were given to them according to the contract that they entered into with government. And some gentlemen had already paid for those. The third one, I can't recall. But in the nutshell, these are some of the issues that we had. When we were remitting the rest of the money to the Treasury, we reserved this money in case it falls in their favor. How do we pay back these clients? When all these issues were resolved, then the money was remitted. I must make mention, Chair, that the consolation is that despite that we did not remit the money on time because of these concerns, even at the time of audit, government had not lost not even a penny. And even up to now, government has not lost even a penny. It's the delay that was necessitated by these outstanding issues with our clients. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. PS, that submission that government did not lose any penny. I think we are all aware to the fact of opportunity cost, value for money. If you delay 180 for a year or so, it won't be 180 in essence because there's opportunity cost. If government has plowed that money into another avenue probably and provided a service to our people, I think that is what we should look at, is what opportunity, what are we depriving, because it should do something. I think that's why we have all those guidelines, financial regulations and banking issues, and I think that's why eminently even Auditor General had to uphold it and also escalate it to a DAP and also to a query in the Auditor General's report is those intricacies which are not only new or happening to Northern Province but to many other provinces and government ministries. I think it's imperative that we ensure that those processes, we do understand your challenges, but processes should be adhered to as it were, so that we can ensure that we foster development and also accountability. Honorable colleagues, if there are no questions, let me take this opportunity, PS, just to thank you and also highlight some issues which are emanating from Northern Province. I think it's important that you look at issues of reconciling with the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Arts. Issues of these loans, we want to see to it that those recommendations which were given, and also Secretariat take note that we ensure that Secretary to Treasury, some of these things are reconciled. It's not only Northern Province, but so many provinces, because these funds were channeled through all provincial admin in the country. So it's important that they are reconciled to that effect, and we know the actual status report, because you come before this honorable committee and say it's an oversight, we are not aware, we're going to do that. Minister of Sport also come and give their version of their story. So it's important that we should all pull in one direction, provincial admin as well as the mother ministry, which are the owners of this program. And PS also, the issues of title, it's very important and eminent that those are attended to according to the submission made by your Director of Finance, that there's progress. We want to see to it that next time there's no issue, there's no query pertaining to title deeds to that effect. Issues of maintenance of government property, very important issue, also raised by Honorable Daka to that effect. I think it's important that you liaise effectively with the Minister of Infrastructure as well, so that we know who takes care of what, and in terms of also budgeting. We know you have a smaller budget as provincial admin, but it's important that we take care of these buildings, infrastructure, which are for government. Because if we leave them to get to a certain stage or deteriorate, then it will be very expensive for us to maintain them to that effect. So it's important that we try within what we have to maintain these properties, because some of these properties are heritage properties where we cannot change certain things, but it's important that they're in good shape to that effect to ensure that we can sustain them at a given time. Also, another issue which emanated was an issue to do with Ministry of Tourism, the issue of user fees and hotel managers fees. We did emphasize with the person in charge, your officer, that this should they should not just come here and answer these questions and provide evidence, but we want you to do your work in your various provincial admins, that this is adhered to. It's a law. Tax is a law, so it should be adhered to ensure that he wants to operate in an environment, they should pay the taxes, as it were. So those are some of the issues, I think, which are coming from the queries and which we want you to work on and ensure that these are effected to that effect. We're glad some of the issues which were cited, Auditor General has guided us that you've looked at them and you've implemented them, especially of these, is it rural hardship allowance? But again, we've told your colleagues that it's not about deducting. No, we are deducting. We affected. No. It's about the procedures and the processes that they should be followed to that effect. There are processes. If when an officer is going in and out, in an outskirt, is it the DACO, whatever, the district people, they write. Because the payroll is decentralized. To say we have such an officer who's been posted in Sumbu or is going to Chianga or Chila, then it's done. When they are moving out, it's also written to say they're moving out, so this should be dropped. So these things should be reconciled, Madam HR. Ensure that these things are done. We don't want to you are cited, then you come here and say we are deducting. We've spoken about value for money. An officer will get 50,000 in hardship allowance. If you do deductions, you cannot deduct if someone is below 40% of their pay. So which means government is suffering opportunity cost and value for money. By the time you start deducting, that money has lost value. So that's why we are not encouraging deductions. We are encouraging, let's do it right at first and ensure that these things are not escalated to that effect. So PS, with that said, we hope and pray that you can work at those issues effectively together with your team, and we hope not to see you before this committee. We want to reduce the clients going forward. So we thank you so much. Let me take this opportunity to lift the immunity which was conferred before you, together with your team that is being lifted, and you are free to go. Thank you so much.
Here is an announcement from National Assembly. The following committee meetings over the standing committees for the third session over the 13th National Assembly will start sitting on the following dates. Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Robinson Navuliato under the topic Carbon Markets and Trading in Zambia, Opportunities and Challenges. Committee on Cabinet Affairs will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Wesley Nyerenda under the topic Review over the Operations and Management of a Smart Zambia. Committee on Government Assurances will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Thomas Williams under the topic Selected Government Assurances. Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Amusa Mwanamwambwa under the topic The Fight Against Corruption in Zambia. Committee on Local Governance, Housing and Chiefs Affairs will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Committee Room Number 4 under the topic A Review over the Implementation of the Constituency Development Fund. Committee on Media, Information and Communication Technologies will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Committee Room Number 1 under the topic Zambia ICT Infrastructure vis-a-vis financial technology growth. Members of the public and other interested parties may contact the following officers in the office of the clerk. Mr. Stephen Chiwota, Director of Financial Committees, on telephone number 292-425 up to 36. Mrs. Doreen N.C. Mukwanka, Director, Social Committees, telephone number 292-425 up to 36. This information is available on the National Assembly website www.parliament.gov.zm. Here is an announcement from National Assembly. The following committee meetings over the standing committees for the third session over the 13th National Assembly will start sitting on the following dates. Committee on Energy, Water Development and Tourism will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Fanyanga Mulikita under the topic The Implementation of a Monthly Fuel Price Reviews in Zambia. Committee on National Security and Foreign Affairs will sit from 16th to 27th January 2024 in Robinson Navuliato under the topic The State of Infrastructure at Borders and Ports of Entry into the Country. Committee on National Guidance and Gender Matters will sit from 30th January to 10th February 2024 in Committee Room Number 4 under the topic The Review over the Gender-Based Violence Response and Programming vis-a-vis establishment of victims' shelters, fast-track courts, under the Anti-Gender-Based Violence Fund. Committee on Education, Science and Technology will sit from 30th January to 10th February 2024 in Committee Room Number 5 under the topic A Review over the Implementation of the Education Curriculum. Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services will sit from 30th January to 10th February 2024 in Committee Room Number 3 under the topic Devolution of Primary Health Care Services in Zambia. Committee on National Economy, Trade and Labor Matters will sit from 30th January to 10th February 2024 in Committee Room Number 1 under the topic A Review over the Informal Labor Sector and its contribution to the economy. Members of the public and other interested parties may contact the following officers in the office of the clerk. Mr. Stephen Chiwota, Director of Financial Committees, on telephone number 292-425 up to 36. Mrs. Doreen N.C. Mukwanka, Director, Social Committees, telephone number 292-425 up to 36. This information is available on the National Assembly website www.parliament.gov.zm.
Kala yambale.
No that son.
Balule zidire.
Rap chauffeur de pano.
James on man.
International.